In 1964, a police officer chased something into the desert. Minutes later, he found burn marks on the ground, strange symbols in the dirt, and evidence that something had just lifted straight into the sky. The Air Force investigated. Project Blue Book reviewed the case, and even they couldn't explain it. This is the story of the Lonnie Zamora incident. It happened on April 24, 1964, near Socorro, New Mexico. A quiet desert town, open highways, big sky. Officer Lonnie Zamora was on patrol that afternoon when he noticed something unusual in the distance. At first, he thought it might be a car accident or an explosion at a local dynamite shack. So he did what police officers do. He drove toward it. As Zamora approached the source of the noise, he saw a shiny oval-shaped object sitting in a small ravine. It looked metallic, smooth, about the size of a car. Next to it, Zamora reported seeing two small humanoid figures, dressed in white coveralls. They appeared startled by his presence. Zamora stepped out of his vehicle. That's when everything changed. The object began making a loud roaring sound. Flames shot downward. And within seconds, the craft lifted off, rising silently into the sky and disappearing. Zamora stood frozen. Then he radioed it in. This wasn't just a story. This left physical evidence. When backup arrived, officers found something remarkable. 4 deep impressions in the soil. Scorched desert plants. Burn marks consistent with intense heat. Even small footprints near the landing site. Zamora wasn't alone anymore. Other officers examined the area. The marks were photographed. Samples were collected. This wasn't just a sighting. It was a landing. The details get even stranger. Zamora described a red symbol on the side of the craft, simple, geometric, and unfamiliar. Not military, not commercial. Not anything he recognized. He also described the figures as small, silent, and oddly calm. No weapons, no communication, just observation. Zamora later said he felt genuine fear, not panic, but the kind of fear that comes from realizing you re-looking at something completely outside your experience. And here's what made this case stand out. Lonnie Zamora had no history of exaggeration. He was considered reliable, professional, quiet. He never sought fame. In fact, he avoided publicity whenever possible. This brings us to the official investigation. The U.S. Air Force arrived. So did scientists from Project Blue Book, the military's official UFO study program. They examined the site. They interviewed Zamora repeatedly. They studied the soil. And after months of analysis, they admitted something rare. They could not identify what Zamora encountered. Their final classification? Unidentified. Some suggested it was a secret military test. Others proposed experimental aircraft. But no known project matched the craft's shape, its silent departure, or the landing marks it left behind. And the small figures? No explanation at all. Over the years, theories have multiplied. Some say it was extraterrestrial. Others believe it was advanced human technology being tested in secret. But here's what keeps the Zamora incident alive. There was a trained witness. There was physical evidence. There was an official investigation, and there was no satisfying answer. Zamora never changed his story. He never tried to profit from it. He simply returned to work, serving his community until retirement. Which might be the strangest part of all. The Lonnie Zamora incident remains one of the strongest UFO cases in American history. Not because it's dramatic, but because it's structured. A sighting, a landing, physical traces, government involvement, and a credible witness who had nothing to gain. Lonnie Zamora didn't claim he saw aliens. He reported what he saw. And 60 years later, the question still hangs in the New Mexico sky. What lands, leaves marks behind, and disappears without explanation? Because some mysteries don't ask you to believe. They ask you to explain the evidence. Thanks for watching.